A recruitment agency pays me $4,500 per month for an automated sales system that booked them 70 calls last month on autopilot. In this video, I'll break down exactly how I build it so you can do the same. What you're seeing on screen right now is part of that system. It is made up of two workflows. The first is the lead generation workflow, which I'll walk you through step by step. And the second is the lead enrichment and outreach workflow, which I'll cover right after. Together, they create a fully automated system that not only scrapes and qualifies leads, but also enriches them with AI and sends out personalized cold emails at scale. Before we dive into these workflows, I want to quickly mention that I have a school community where you can download all these exact workflows and other automation snippets. If you are serious about cold outbound, this is the fastest way to land your first client or scale your outreach process. Inside of the school community are all the systems that I personally used to grow my agency to $80,000 per month, and I'm sure you can do the same. All right, let's get into it, starting with the lead generation workflow. For this company, I knew the best approach was to target businesses experiencing active pain, companies that are actively looking to hire tech talent. These are the companies that already feel the pressure of an unfilled role, making them far more likely to respond to the right outreach. To capitalize on that demand, I built a workflow that scrapes the LinkedIn job board, pulling in companies that are actively hiring for developer roles. This ensures that every lead we contact is relevant, high intent, and in immediate need of a solution. On LinkedIn, you can narrow down job posts using specific filters to only target high intent hiring companies. Instead of reaching out to random businesses, we're focusing on companies that already have an open role, making them far more likely to respond to our outreach. To ensure the best possible leads, I refined the search using 4 key filters. First, I only searched for developer roles, since this agency has a strong network of tech talent. Next, I filtered by experience level, only including mid-senior positions, since those match the skill set of their candidates. Then I set a minimum salary of $80,000, making sure we're targeting companies that are willing to pay for quality talent. Finally, I applied a recency filter, ensuring we only see job posts that were listed within the last month, because there's no point in reaching out to companies that may have already filled the role. After applying these filters, LinkedIn returned us 4,124 results, meaning we now have access to a list of over 4,000 companies that are actively hiring for developer roles. This is a big enough pool to run an effective cold email campaign, and since they're already looking to hire, the likelihood of getting responses and booking calls is much higher. Now, the next step is getting all of this data inside of our workflow. So first we'll be focusing on this top part, the lead generation part. So now that we have already filtered for job posts, we need to extract all the relevant details and bring them into our system. To do this, I use an Apify scraper inside N8N to pull in company names, job titles, locations, LinkedIn URLs, and other key details directly from LinkedIn. Setting up the Apify scraper is very straightforward, but there's one big challenge. Since we're scraping for 4,000 leads, we can't use the run actor synchronously and get dataset items endpoint URL, because this process takes longer than 4 minutes, which means we can't just set and wait for the dataset to be ready in real time. If you tried to fetch the data immediately after starting the scrape, the output would be empty, breaking the workflow. To solve this, we need a workaround that ensures we only proceed once the dataset is fully available. Let me show you how I handled that. To solve this, I built a flow that waits for the dataset to be ready before continuing, ensuring we never process incomplete or empty results. It works the following. First, an HTTP node is set up to retrieve the dataset containing all the scraped leads. However, since we're working with a large volume of data, the scrape isn't instant, meaning that when the HTTP request is first made, the dataset is usually, or most of the time, still empty. To handle this, I added a code node that checks if the output contains any data. If the dataset isn't ready yet, this node returns a simple response, not ready, and this acts as a signal for the next step. Now, an if node evaluates the output, and if it detects not ready from the previous node, it pauses the workflow using a wait node, giving the scraper more time to complete. Once enough time has passed, the HTTP request is re-triggered to check again if the dataset is ready. Once the dataset is no longer empty, at this point the if node recognizes that the data is available because the code node didn't output not ready, allowing the workflow to continue processing the lead information without any errors. Setting it up like this ensures that we never attempt to process an incomplete dataset, preventing errors and making sure every lead is fully scraped before moving forward. However, even after successfully scraping the LinkedIn job post, the data is never fully complete. One of the biggest limitations is that the job posts often don't include key details like the company's website URL or the recruiter's email address. And without this information, reaching out directly to decision makers becomes much harder. To solve this, we take an extra step, scraping the company's LinkedIn page to pull in missing details. First, we send an HTTP request to the company's LinkedIn page, retrieving the raw HTML content. This gives us access to everything displayed on their page, including text that isn't provided in the job post itself. Next, we use a code node to filter out unnecessary elements from the HTML, isolating the company's website URL from the extracted HTML, since most businesses list their website on their LinkedIn profile. This step helps us fill in a critical missing piece of data. At this point, we've successfully extracted the company's website URL, but we still need a reliable way to find direct email addresses. This is where any email finder comes in. With any email finder, all we need to do is input the company's domain name, and the tool will search the web for verified email addresses associated with that domain. Instead of giving us random or outdated contacts, it provides ranked results, meaning the most frequently used and reliable emails appear first. This ensures that every email we collect is valid, reducing bounce rate and improving deliverability. Now that we have gathered all the key details, the company's name, their website URL, and a verified email address, it is time to store everything into our CRM. I personally use Airtable, but the specific tool doesn't matter. What's important is that your CRM can send webhooks, because that's what will allow us to seamlessly connect this data to the next workflow, the lead enrichment and outreach process. With all the leads now stored and structured properly, as you can see, the lead generation process is complete, but this is just the first half of the system. Next, I'll show you how we enrich these leads further and automate highly personalized outreach at scale. Honestly, this was the least interesting part of this system. What's coming up next is where things get really powerful. Now that we have a highly targeted list of leads, we can start enriching them with AI and sending personalized cold emails at scale. This is the part that turns raw data into booked calls automatically. So let's move on to the lead enrichment and outreach workflow. Now that we have a segmented list of leads, we can move on to what really matters, turning this data into high converting outreach. The next step is lead enrichment, where we pull additional company insights to make our emails hyper personalized. Once we have all the necessary details, we move into cold email automation, where AI fills in the gaps and generates emails that feel 100% human written. The goal of this workflow is simple. By the time it is done, every email variable will be fully populated and the emails will be automatically uploaded to our email service provider, ready to be sent out automatically. Before we dive into this workflow, let's take a look at the email template I wrote for this specific client, and that will be used for our outreach. So the email template I came up with is as follows. I always use the same structure. It is, hi, first name. I noticed that clean company name has been actively recruiting for a job role for the past job post date. So how many weeks, and then followed by a little personalization or personalized line, which is always a big bonus. We've built a fast database of pre-vetted developers, enabling companies like SEMrush and Atlassian to fill critical roles within a week. Our efficient process ensures you meet your prospect deadlines without compromising on talent quality. Should I send over some candidates who could be a perfect fit for, once again, clean company name? Everything you see that is within brackets will be filled in by AI at the end of this workflow. This email is designed to feel tailor-made for each recipient, pulling in key details about their hiring activity to create a message that feels genuine and relevant. Once all variables are filled in, things like the company name, job role, posting date, and a unique personalization line, this email will sound completely natural. No one would ever guess it was generated and sent at scale using AI. Now let's go step by step through the workflow that makes this possible. Before we start enriching the data, we need to filter out bad leads so we're not wasting API tokens, processing power, or time on companies that aren't even a fit for us or for my client in this case. For this client, the only qualifier we care about is location. The company must be based in the United States. That is it. Everything else, like industry or company size, doesn't matter for this specific outreach campaign. To start this campaign, we've set up a simple trigger that starts the enrichment workflow from inside of my Airtable. So here inside my Airtable, all I have to do is check this box, which then sends a webhook to N8N using an automation in Airtable, which automatically kicks off the workflow. So back in N8N, the webhook node would be the node receiving the webhook sent from Airtable, and it receives the record ID from the specific lead of which I checked the box. And this record ID serves as a unique identifier for the lead, allowing us to pull in all the relevant details for the next steps in the process. Now that the workflow is triggered, we can move on to verifying the lead's location and scraping additional company details once they qualify. So once the webhook is triggered, the record ID is passed to the next node, the Airtable node, which allows us to pull all the relevant lead information from our CRM, as you can see on the output side. The Airtable node retrieves everything we've collected so far, so like the company's name, their website URL, LinkedIn profile, job details. Since we've already scraped the job post location, we can use this data to filter out companies that aren't based in the US. Here's how that filter would work. The if node is set up to simply check if the location contains the United States. If it does, it is sent on to the true branch. If it doesn't, it is sent to the false branch, which would delete the lead from our CRM. This prevents us from wasting resources and API calls on leads that won't qualify. But if the location check confirms that the company is in the US, the workflow continues and we move forward with scraping additional company data for personalization. Next up, to gather even more useful information, we take an extra step, scraping the company's LinkedIn page to pull in additional data that wasn't available in the job post. To do this, we use a HTTP node inside N8N to fetch the raw HTML from the company's LinkedIn page, which you can see here on the right side. This gives us access to everything that is displayed on the page, including details that aren't in the structured job post data. Once we have the raw HTML, we run it through a code node once again. This code filters out all the unnecessary elements, removing scripts, styling, anything that isn't useful for us. And this step isolates the important text, ensuring we extract only the key business information that will help us personalize outreach. Now that we have the cleaned data, we're ready to analyze and enrich it using AI. Meaning now we move into the most important part of the workflow, which is using AI to extract and enrich data for personalization. This is where we take the raw scraped data I just showed you and turn it into actionable insights that make our outreach feel genuinely customized for each company. The first step is summarizing the company data, and for this we use a ChatGPT node that processes the cleaned LinkedIn data and generates a structured company summary. This summary includes the company size, which gives us an idea of their scale and potential hiring needs. It also identifies their most recent funding round, which is a strong signal that they are in a growth phase and more likely to be hiring. The AI then extracts notable partnerships, helping us understand the companies they collaborate with and allowing us to reference them in outreach if relevant. Finally, it analyzes recent LinkedIn posts to capture key topics or industry trends they are focusing on. For this specific email, we aren't using LinkedIn post insights, but we could. Incorporating them would add another layer of personalization, making the outreach even more compelling. Now that we have a structured summary of the company, we move on to the next AI step, extracting the key variables needed to personalize and fill in the email template. The second large language model node now takes the structured company summary from the previous one and extracts only the specific variables needed for our email template. Instead of keeping all the extra details from the first AI step, this one focuses purely on the data points that will be inserted into the email, making sure everything is formatted correctly for automation. The reason we use two separate AI nodes instead of one comes down to efficiency and functionality. While the first AI node generates a full company profile, which isn't just useful for outreach, it can also be used for sales prep, giving a deeper understanding of the company before hopping on a call. The second AI node, on the other hand, is designed specifically for automation. It extracts only the email-specific variables and outputs them in a structured JSON format, as you can see, which makes it much easier to integrate with the rest of the workflow coming after this. By splitting these steps, we ensure that our workflow remains organized, scalable, and optimized for both outreach and future sales conversations. Now that we have the email ready data, we move on to refining the company name to ensure our message sounds completely natural. And that is the job of the third AI node. It is responsible for cleaning up company names before they are inserted into the email. This might seem like a very small detail, but it makes a huge difference in how natural the outreach feels. Many company LinkedIn pages include suffixes like LLC or Inc. And if we were to use those directly in our email, it would make the message sound robotic and unnatural because no one says, "Hey, I saw that Acme Solutions LLC is hiring." Instead, we naturally refer to the company as just Acme Solutions. To fix this, as I said, we use this AI node and this specific prompt, which detects and removes suffixes, ensuring the company name appears clean and natural in the final email. This makes the outreach feel human written, even though the entire process is automated. Now that all the personalization variables are ready, we move into the final AI step, which is structuring the email. Instead of ChatGPT, I use Claude AI for this last step because it's better at formatting structured data into full coherent sentences. The AI takes all the extracted details like the company name, job role, job posting date, and any custom personalization we just scraped and extracted, and automatically fills in the email template. I dragged the email template over from the beginning of this workflow to here so you guys can compare the two immediately. As you remember from the email template, a lot of stuff like their first name, cleaned company name, job role, personalization, and once again, clean company name was all in brackets, meaning it was yet to be filled in by the AI. And what you see in green is the output from the final LLM node, which was written by Claude. I'll read it for you guys. So, hi, Alessandro, so first name was filled in. I noticed that Skill Stack, which was the clean company name, has been actively recruiting developers, which was the job role, for the past 3 weeks, job post date. Especially following your recent funding round, congratulations on this exciting milestone. So this is the personalization. And if I go back to determine the variables, we can see that they recently had a funding round. So that must have been inside of the HTML from the company LinkedIn page. We've built a fast database. Well, this is all pre-written and hasn't been changed. And then finally, at the end, skill stack was once again filled in instead of clean company name. This email is now completely customized to the recipient. The company name, job role, job posting date have all been inserted seamlessly. There's even a personalization line referencing the company's recent funding round, making the message feel like it was written specifically for this lead. And the best thing is that all of this was done automatically using two key data sources. First, we pulled the structured information directly from our CRM, which included details from the original job post scrape, such as the company name and job role. Then we used AI-generated insights from the company's LinkedIn page to add deeper personalization, like their recent funding or growth milestones, if they would have had those as well. At this point, the email feels 100% human written with no obvious signs that it was generated at scale. Now that it's fully prepared, the next step, as I already mentioned, is uploading everything to our CRM and sending it out through our email automation system. We update our CRM by making use of this Airtable node, which we use to upload all of our enriched data to store it for future reference. This keeps everything organized, making it easy to track which leads have been processed and enriched, and also makes it very easy for the client in this case to prepare for a sales call if the lead would actually book a meeting at some point. And at the same time, the final email is uploaded to Instantly, our email service provider for those who aren't familiar with Instantly. Instantly takes care of sending this email automatically to the lead, ensuring a fully hands-off outreach process from lead generation to AI-powered personalization and automated sending. This workflow is now running at scale, or could be running at scale. And that is pretty much it. With just 2 button clicks, we've built a fully automated system that transforms raw data into highly personalized outreach at scale. We now have a highly relevant, fully enriched lead list filled with companies that are actively hiring and a high probability of responding. The emails are AI written but feel 100% human, customized for each company using real-time scraped data and AI generated insights. And most importantly, this is a completely hands-off outreach system, working at a level of speed and precision that no manual team could ever match. This is the future of outbound sales. If you want to access these workflows, snippets, and full automation builds like this, you can download them inside my school community. Whether you're looking to land your first client or scale your agency to 6 or 7 figures, this is the fastest way to do it. And if you got any value from this breakdown, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos. I'll be sharing more deep dives, complete with step-by-step automation breakdowns that you can implement immediately. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you soon.